Hello and welcome to a very special podcast series, Unusual Suspects. I'm your host, Gaurav Chaudhary. This is a series about unraveling stories of entrepreneurs, investors, and businesses that are disruptors, yet not in your face. Their disruptions have consistently delivered on the purpose and the mission they embarked on. Their values are as strong as the mission. While they are ruthless in pursuing their ambition, they don't stray from being leaders who are not just admired for the vision and relentless pursuit, but also for how they are building an ecosystem of believers who consistently push the boundaries. They allow principles to take precedence over ad hocism. For them, profitability is as important as scale, creating and leading new categories and innovations. In each episode, I speak to one such leader, talking to her or him or them about their businesses, lives, inspirations, interests, challenges, pivot moments and turning points, successes, failures, agonies and ecstasies, and of course, frustrations. It is as much about their personal life stories as about their entrepreneurial journeys. Unusual Suspects streams on Earshot.in, Spotify.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, MoneyControl.com, and a host of other podcast streaming platforms. For this episode, I'm delighted to have Dr. Prateek Kanakia, Chairman and Founder of TheGreenBillions. An experienced corporate strategist, he has advised and dealt with multiple blue-chip corporates on their strategic investment and affairs. An entrepreneur for the past decade and a half, he has handheld and accelerated multiple startups. TheGreenBillions Limited is working towards reimagining global sustainability with the help of advanced technologies that are capable of bringing a revolutionary change. TheGreenBillions Limited has recognized hydrogen as a game changer in this journey. Welcome to Unusual Suspects, Dr. Prateek.
Thanks a lot, Gaurav.
Can you tell us about your entrepreneurial journey so far, and why did you create this venture, TheGreenBillions?
So I had floated the Green Billions Limited in late 2016 after I could notice Barack Obama screaming from the rooftop from all the social media handles and wherever I could see him that climate change is a real threat, and he had he had initiated and signed the Paris Accord. That could make me realize that yes, climate change is a real threat to the nation, to the nations, to the planet, to the mankind and the whole of humanity, which basically triggered my thought process that let me incorporate an entity which would just work exclusively in finding out disruptive solutions to cater to issues and come up with commercial and sustainable solutions, revenue-centric solutions.
So what motivates you, or who do you look up to as a role model in the sustainable energy space or any other sector? The reason I'm asking you this question is that sustainability and sustainable living is such a wide universe. It involves business, consumers, people, factories, technology, policymakers, and a wide gamut of people and stakeholders. Who do you think is someone you look up to and believe he or she is a pioneer in this space?
You would find it very ironic, Gaurav, that I do not idolize anyone from this space, but I have one gentleman to mention here. I had almost looked up to him while I was a kid, and that is Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. It is imperative to note that Reliance is known for their fossil fuel business, but they are again the front runners for taking this transition in the country. And why Dhirubhai Ambani? Because of his ability and capacity to think out of the box, think before the time. The kind of deliverance, the kind of alliances he could strike in those years while we were growing up, all looks like an encyclopedia to me. And I always wanted to shake hands with him, which I had missed before he left the world. And that's that.
The government of India has recently announced a national green hydrogen mission, and the PM himself has said it holds a lot of promise and also is personally interested in how it plays out. What's your view about the policy? Do you think this could be the moment where India could actually be the world's heart so far as hydrogen is concerned?
I welcome this initiative of government, this approach which they've taken. In fact, Honorable Prime Minister had declared it in 2021 from the Red Fort. This mission we're talking about, that's called the National Green Hydrogen Mission, and we have all in us, as in all the ingredients with us to actually portray and position ourselves as a leader, as an export hub of green hydrogen to the world. And the fossil fuel era is all about, I believe, done within a decade, and the transition can only be provided by adopting or by adoption of green hydrogen.
There's a lot of discussion about the pace of India's urbanization, and this is something all of us should be aware of and alive and alert to. The reason I ask you this question is also when all across the big metropolises in India, you will come across monstrosities, ugly sights of almost mountains of garbage. In Delhi, you have something like a Ghazipur, which resembles a very big mountain, which is nothing but urban waste. It is solid waste, and it is a dump yard that has got bigger with every passing year, and with no solution in sight. The Pune Municipal Corporation has set up a hydrogen extraction plant, the first of its kind, and this is something that everyone is looking up to. The civil authorities, state and central governments, scientists, and everyone is looking up to the success of the Pune Municipal Corporation hydrogen extraction plant, and your company is involved in it. Tell us more about it. How will this work, and what is the promise it holds out?
I'm pleased to update you that yes, the Green Billions Limited has been privileged to be part of this mission of treating the waste, the domestic municipal waste of Pune municipality, and we've gotten into an understanding into a public-private partnership model with them to treat 350 tons of waste every day for next 30 years. And my idea of getting into this concession or picking up this concession was to show to the world that there can't be a bigger impact than this. We speak about producing green hydrogen out of electrolysis as a process, or for that matter biomass, which are anyways are natural agents to keep the natural ecological balance of our planet. But waste which is worthless on as is various basis, if we can treat that waste and create a superlative alternate fuel like hydrogen and use it to fire industries or blend it back to the city gas distribution network and decarbonize the whole city, I believe it's unreal. And to create that impact story, I took this initiative. I proposed it to the Pune Municipal Corporation that I'll be adopting technologies from our own premier institutes like Bhabha Atomic Research Center and Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, create hybrids of the processes and achieve an integrated play. So I've been able to be ahead in the game, and we've got our consent to establish to set up this plant on 26th of December 2022, while the National Green Hydrogen Mission or the policies, the first draft was declared on 4th of January 2023. So far so good.
Right. Can you tell us something more about this and break it down for us about how solid waste can be used almost like a perennial source for generation of green hydrogen energy? How does it work? What is the science and also the economics behind this?
So I must tell you that mixed waste from any municipality contains both the non-recyclable, non-biodegradable, wet sort of waste. In fact, this has been the pain point. This has been an unfortunate differentiator of our waste and the rest of the world, as in waste coming out of urban centers in rest of the places in the world, because the source segregation processes out there are better than ours, and here we get a non-uniform composition of waste every day. Although Pune has been very very organized and professional in source segregation methods, and hence I was fortunate enough to get this concession. But we are using the non-biodegradable and non-recyclable part of the waste and segregating. There's something called refuse derived fuel. It's called RDF. So it is a fluffed form of dried, unrecyclable, non-biodegradable plastic, which will be converted into pellets, and that will become the feed to our reactors, our proprietary reactors, to produce hydrogen. While the wet waste we get, we are again applying proprietary processes to come up with or to produce high humic acid based fertilizer grade manure.
What steps can private players take to fast-track rules finding a sustainable energy solution? What kind of role do you see for the private sector, or the government's role probably would be to create the right enabling policy environment and also give budgetary support, which the government will continue to do, given the fact that the PM himself is so keenly leading the change. But what is the role that the private sector needs to play? Because without the private sector, the transition in energy and India's goal towards sustainable economy and living will never be achieved.
Gaurav, I must tell you that no doubt the private sector means business. They are supposed to do the business, and hence they are going to remain at the forefront. But it has to be fully, this transition needs to be fully handheld by the government, because we are talking of consuming one form of energy to produce another form of energy, which is less in quantum and high in prices. To attain to attain a sustainable equation for businesses to remain cost efficient, because corporates, the private sector strictly mean business. They cannot deviate from their bottom lines or top lines. So to adopt this energy transition, government needs to facilitate, let's say, a separate RE, you can say renewable banking, or for that matter, they need to come up with other provisions of open-ended debts at sustainable cost of finance or cost of capital. So there needs to be newer measures and a lot of investments, because decarbonization and this energy transition has become an obligation on the world. So private sector would definitely lead it, but the government needs to act as a nucleus to facilitate, to enable this effort.
Finally, what are next steps or plans for the Green Billions in the green hydrogen space, and what are the next big thing? We know you are getting actively involved in turning municipal waste into hydrogen. Pune Municipal Corporation will be the beginning of the first of many that you are going to do, but what next?
So, as I said, yes, Pune is just the beginning. We are trying to prove it to the world that this whole full circle can be achieved. And trust me, the world is watching us, as you had put it earlier. We've been getting emails from various authorities, and just not domestically but internationally. And I mean it while I say the world is watching us. So we are just waiting for our first 10-ton input of RDF reactor to produce a ton of hydrogen every day. And we are already engaged with other municipalities, other state governments. To just add to it, we've also received intent from Indian Oil Corporation Limited for us to set up one compressed biogas station in every district of UP and Odisha. So there also my logic of producing compressed biogas or having so many stations would be to stay ahead in the game, because CBG has the compressed biogas has methane, which has 4 atoms of hydrogen, and whenever the time comes and this hydrogen ecosystem in our country becomes end-to-end viable, while I say end-to-end viable, I mean while we are self-sustained on storage and equally sustained on the logistics front, I would start separating hydrogen from methane. And the natural progression on the fuel front, or the history of fuels, if you understand, or if you try and understand, it all started with solid fuels like wood and coal, and then it went liquid. The crude oil and diesel, petrol and kerosene happened to the world, and now this era will belong to gas. And hydrogen will play an extraordinary role in the whole energy transition because it has the highest gross calorific value. So lesser the use, higher the efficiency is the mantra, and that's what I believe.
Very insightful indeed. Thank you so much, Dr. Prateek Kanakia, for taking the time out and dropping by to have this conversation and giving us very deep insights on the future of fuel, gas, and hydrogen as a gas, and India's role in sustainable living, as all the work that your company is doing, particularly in the area of extracting municipal waste and using it for creating hydrogen that can be used at scale for sustainable economics.
I really am thankful and grateful for you inviting me to interact on these lines, and I look forward to have such interactions on a steady basis so that I can actually keep coming and tell the world that okay, this is the new weapon from the arsenal of TheGreenBillions Limited.
Thank you so much.